Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Ask Jonathan. So we're going to jump right back into it. So this week's question comes from HornybeeAnimation. Nice. He or she asks, "Hey, Jonathan, I've been teaching myself for a while now using a variety of methods, but I feel it's hard to look at my own work and see improvement. My question is, what was the time frame for you to go from an amateur artist to producing artwork worthy of an audience? It would also be cool to know some of the things you did to help you progress, like classes you went to, or things you drew personally." And he or she says thanks and all that good stuff. So thanks for the question. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a hard question or a difficult question. Obviously it is if you're asking it, so it's a little bit of a troublesome one for you. But the easiest way that you can go about it is it's a simple answer, and it's honestly the answer for a lot of the questions a lot of people have, is just keep drawing. And you should be getting better. Now, to pertain to the question you just asked, where it's like, what can you do to tell? For me, I like to keep sketchbooks. I don't know if you guys can see over in the back here. For me, my sketchbooks usually, all they are cheap dollar store binders and cheap printer paper, and I bought a hole punch, and I just hole punch blank pieces of paper, draw on them, and then put them in when I'm done. Personally, for me, I don't like to keep sketchbooks as a piece of art. I try to keep them exactly as that, as sketches. Now, that's not to say sketches aren't art. That's not what I'm trying to say. If you are trying to do something like that, like to keep a sketchbook that's meant for, showing off, I suppose, yeah, maybe dress it up a bit. But like as you can see here, they're just stacks of, most of it's anatomy drawing. What I will do too is I like to keep some sort of paper around my computer, or if you watch TV, or if you're on the phone a lot, try to keep some sort of paper around there. That way you can just sketch. You just turn your brain off and you just sketch, whether it's anatomy or something, and just hole punch it when you're done and toss it in. What you're going to find is over time, if you're doing this daily, as much as you can, at least a page a day of just gesture drawing, of just scribbles or whatever, over time that sucker is going to fill up. And once it fills up, you just start the next one. And eventually what you can do is you can just start flipping through them. And you're going to see recurring patterns, right? For me, a lot of the stuff I draw is anatomy based, like superheroes or something like that. So I need to get better at anatomy. I still do. So what I like to do is set aside a little chunk of time in the morning, usually when I start, or before I go to bed. Right now it's only about 10 minutes. It's nothing crazy. I need to increase it myself to probably about 30 minutes. A good warm-up, but just to break the rust off of when I'm waking up, or kind of as like a way to wind down before I go to bed. But what it's doing is it's building a catalog for yourself so that you can go back and you can see what's tying you up, what's holding you back a little bit. And for me, that's the easiest way I can do it. The second easiest way, it's kind of the same, but I do have published work that I've done years ago, and I can look at that compared to what I'm doing now. And for me, if I don't get excited by the new stuff that I'm producing, there's a problem. Something's not clicking right. Now, arguably, my old stuff could look better to some people than my new stuff, but that's not what you should be doing. You should be looking at yourself. Look at your art and see, are you happier drawing the way you are now, or were you happy drawing the way you were then? Hopefully you're happier today. If you're not, just sit back and take a look at what you were doing and see what's missing. Maybe you started to not add shadows to your art. Maybe you stopped rendering. Maybe you added shadows. Maybe you added rendering. All kinds of things like that. So take a look at what you're doing now compared to what you're doing before. Now, if you don't keep a record, I know some people, they just burn or they throw out their sketches and stuff, which I guess is fine. But what that's doing is that's making it so you can't go back and compare yourself to anything. Some people that do weightlifting or weight loss, the big recommendation everybody says is take a picture before you start. Even if you're a big fat slob, take a picture of yourself. And that way, in a month, 2 months, a year, you can always look back, take a new picture, and put them side by side. Do you see an improvement? If not, then you need to change some things. In your art, it could be you're drawing the same. So start drawing different things, Start looking, like I highly recommend looking at manga. Start watching cartoons again. Start copying, Mickey Mouse. As weird as that might sound, try drawing Mickey Mouse's hands, their gloves. They might not look like some cool anatomy with bones, and there's probably very, very few times there's actually some extreme foreshortening and stuff. But, go out of your comfort zone if you don't see an improvement. Yeah. That's about it. So let me just go back over the question just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Actually, there's one part there. What was the time frame for you to go from amateur artist to producing artwork worthy of an audience? Now, this one I think is a little bit of a trick question, because I think even if you're only drawing stick people, to say it's not worthy of an audience is probably misleading yourself. I think I know what you're trying to say with that, but try to dismiss that negativity that you give yourself, that we all give ourselves, where it's like you look at your art and it's like, but so-and-so can do better. There's no reason. Nobody's going to like looking at my stuff. That's a bunch of crap. Art's meant to be shared and experienced and made. And if all you're doing is making it for yourself, that's cool. But that's one of the awesome gifts of being able to draw, is you can show it to people, right? So show it to people, even if it is just primitive stuff. You will get better over time. So the time frame, I don't know. I would say it was, if I had to give an actual date for myself, I would say it was probably about a year. I used to draw a lot of anime and things, and then I was introduced to an artist who showed me, like in the last video, Bridgman and Loomis. And I studied that stuff hardcore for a year, and I still study it. You know, you should never stop studying that stuff, and find time to make time to actually study it. But I noticed an improvement in my work over about a year, I would say. Would I say it was worthy? Again, I don't know. Just, I don't want to answer that question because it's a dangerous question. Because no matter what you do, somebody wants to see it, right? Even if it's your family, even if it's you, somebody needs to see it, somebody wants to see it. So just keep making the work. Don't worry about putting deadlines on yourself or time frames. Don't start thinking things like, oh, it's been 5 years and I still don't have a job yet. Don't think like that. That's negative. I probably shouldn't say don't look at it. Look at it and wonder why. Ask yourself better questions. Ask yourself questions like, how come I still am not experiencing or feeling better about my stuff? What is it that's tying me back, holding me back? What is it that I can experiment with? Should I start adding foreshortening? Should I start drawing romance comics instead of like high action? You never know. You got to try these things. But yeah, don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't build a house around yourself and just live inside there, okay? Don't shy away from incoming critiques and different styles and experiences with art, okay? Jump outside there, play around, mess around, see what you get from it, and take it back. See if what you're adding to your stuff is better than before. If it's not, if you're not happy with it, then go back to what you were doing. But that should be the easy way of doing it. And if you don't have it started already, start it now. Grab some garbage paper, just start doing sketches and start hole punching them. Grab a stapler, paperclip. You don't need anything fancy. Just keep bundles or stacks so that you can go back and look at that stuff. Okay? So hopefully that answered your question. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you have a question, just leave it in the comment box below, and we'll answer it next week in the next video. So take care. Thanks so much for watching. Keep reading comics. Keep making comics. And we'll talk next week. See you later.